Europa League Final. Yes, it's between two Premier League clubs, but they've had such terrible seasons in the league, such inconsistent seasons in the league for various reasons, which I'm sure we'll come to. And now one of them will be playing Champions League football next season.
I know, it does. It's baffling. It's baffling.
That's
and
exactly
I think that they're very fortunate, these two teams. I think Wolves, you have to say, probably as well. West Ham as well. Very fortunate that Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton had the seasons they had, because if just two of those teams came with anything more, we could have seen Spurs or Man United go down this year. People say, what are you talking? We could have. It's been so bad. How many wins?
Teams have gone down on like 42 once.
Normally 40 is the minimum benchmark.
Was it West Ham 42? I'm sure.
Yeah, it was. And they aim for 40, but usually it's high 30s in a normal season. But that's only where they are right now.
I don't know how you feel as a Tottenham fan or a Man United fan when you win. You obviously have got to be happy that you won something. But the consistency, what you're judged on for the season they've had is arguably, both of them, the worst seasons they've had. Probably easily in the Premier League. Easily.
It will be it already is their most losses, and it'll be their lowest Premier League finishes as well.
You say you're baffled. Before I used to watch Man United. Obviously, I had Berbatov who played for Man United. I used to watch. I used to be eager to watch that team. I haven't watched them. There's no excitement about watching them. Obviously, with Tottenham is different. I'm well connected with Ange Postecoglou, obviously, to Celtic. I want him to do well, but they've just been awful, both teams. There was nothing. There was so many stories from within the camp and the issues, obviously the Rashford, the bad results, blaming on the players, then the manager, then the board. It's been a mess. But then it can become one of the most successful seasons for both teams.
In respect of a trophy.
Yes, exactly.
But Manchester United have done this when they've had, and look, they haven't had a season like this in the league. But even when they've had poor seasons in the league, they've been able to deliver on a trophy, which has kind of got some managers out of jail. Well, not all managers, because Louis van Gaal was sacked mid press conference pretty much after winning the FA Cup. But this league form, that's appalling.
I think the issue will be as well is that in those scenarios, and the case of Ange at Spurs, is it does just feel like whoever wins, it's a plaster that is temporarily covering up a whole ream of issues underneath, whether that's structurally, culturally, recruitment, whatever it may be, coaching. And I think you do see that at both teams. I think maybe for Spurs, this can offer more of a springboard for them, because there's been, the whole conversation, even when Mourinho is there, about the culture of the club and the pressure to win something, and maybe this could turn it for them. But I think with Manchester United, for me, it feels like this wouldn't change anything. It'd be a trophy, but not much more than that, because the issues run so deep there, whether it's the recruitment of the players and the squad that simply isn't good enough right now, or structurally when it goes up to the ballroom in the wider issues. So it is, the discourse on it is so remarkable, because it's such a strange scenario to have these two English teams going in who, at this point, could have been in the relegation conversation. It's bizarre.
It's interesting you're saying that it won't change anything. Do you think whoever win it, either Man United, Tottenham, they will keep their managers going forward? There's one. If that won't make a change.
I think Manchester United are more likely to keep a manager, because I think they want to give him a summer transfer window and make that happen. But he already sort of looks like a broken man at this point.
Maybe that's why he wanted to come in at the end of the season, and they said, no, start now. Because he maybe saw this coming. Because this is as bad as I've ever seen any Man United team. But the thing with his flow is that he does need the summer. In respect of recruitment, and how much money is he going to get when we know how much they're scrimping and scraping around the place saving money. People are not even, I don't think staff are even being able to go. I think people are paying for the staff to go and watch the game. So you look at it and you do worry for United, because you're thinking, okay, the summer they'll sort it out and they'll buy some players and they'll change this. But you can't even put a marker on that, because they constantly complain about not having money now.
It's Amorim who's been paying for some of the staff to go over with their families to the game. Well, certainly helping out in terms of transport and things like that. I think what you said about the culture at Spurs is really interesting. because of your knowledge of how Ange Postecoglou works, and he's one of the managers who's complained about the culture at Spurs, that it isn't that winning culture. And I wonder what that looks like from his point of view, and whether, as the man who always wins a trophy in his second season, whether that's something that he can bring.
Yeah, you have to create that kind of mentality. You have to bring that culture. And in fairness, as much as I love Ange Postecoglou, I believe that what he does, he haven't managed to adapt to the English football. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to understand and adapt in certain games. You have to understand the Premier League is completely different. Mm-hmm. You've got every team is good, everybody's got great players, and you haven't managed to do that. Yeah, European football has been a great adventure, but he has to understand that he has to become smarter, and if you want that winning culture, mm-hmm. he has to bring players and staff and people who believe in that and will follow everything he needs to.
Champions League football will certainly help him attract them. So who do we think then? Manchester United or Tottenham?
You know something, I do believe
Go on, right, yeah. I want to hear that.
I think Man United.
Because it was their history point with them.
Yeah, being in that final. And I think as long as you've got Bruno Fernandes in your team and playing against that kind of opposition, you have to fancy Manchester United.
I'm going for Spurs.
And confidently going for Spurs as well.
Yeah, I confidently going for Spurs. I believe that if they click, they do play some incredible football. Mm-hmm. I think that will be the last chance for maybe Ange to save his job. And I think that big stage will be excitement for the players. But Man United is Man United, and they have shown when they've been against the odds, they can produce.
Go on, Flo.
You never know what you're going to get with these two, that's for sure. Terrible runs going in, but I have to say, the route that United have had to the final, beating Lyon, beating Bilbao, I didn't expect them to win either of those games. I'm going with United.
Nice.
Yeah, because you think that the form that they've shown in that competition might just be enough to carry them through the final. So we've got 2 for Manchester United, 1 for Tottenham, but either way, we will be talking about that, I would imagine, next week, which is the last one of the season next week, isn't it? So we will see you for that one. Everything will be wrapped up. All those predictions that we're having to make about who qualifies for the Champions League, it will be done. We'll know who's done it, and we'll be talking about it this time next week. See you then. Bye-bye. Europa League final then. Quick word. Spurs against Manchester United. If you think that was hard to predict, talk to me about 2 teams who, on paper, by any metric, have had poor seasons.
I think you've been kind with the word poor.
They're right down only just above the relegation places of teams who've had desperately poor seasons, which is why I was there. And the winner of that game, either Tottenham or Manchester United, after those seasons in the league, will be playing Champions League football next season. Who is it going to be?
I think Man United.
Because?
Because you don't have Tottenham.
I think Kulusevski's a massive miss.
I agree.
I think if Kulusevski's playing, I'm probably going with Tottenham, but I think he's by far their best player, and I think it'll be a big miss. And I just think Man United have that little bit extra than they do, in my opinion. But it could go anyway.
Kulusevski, Maddison, Bergvall are really important players. So you'll probably end up with a midfield 3 of Bentancur, Sarr and Bissouma. So in terms of someone that's going to have that little bit of extra quality, it's going to be more difficult. But with Son, Solanke, they can win this game. Of course, we can talk about, and Roy Keane made a very valid point. I totally get it that Manchester United's history can carry you through, but there isn't anything when you've watched Manchester United and to work on that basis and go, because that's going to change anything. It's going to be, anything can happen. It's going to be one of the great pillar fights.
And even when they've had difficult seasons, Manchester United have managed to come home with a piece of silverware. But Les, are you Team Spurs for this one?
Of course, all day long. I've had this all day, nothing less. I'm really desperate for them not to win it.
You said you're buying a Bruno shirt.
I'm going sports shirt.
Make the case briefly for Tottenham.
No, I just think they've been poor in the league this season, but I think in this competition they've turned up and they've been at their best when they have turned up. So I think with Bissouma and Sarr, start of the season and Bentancur, they were good in that midfield. So I'm course going for Spurs.
Tottenham have got one over. They beat them the last 3 times, haven't they?
Yeah, and they have got a big performance.
Yeah, they've got good.
2 underachieving giants of English football will collide in an all-or-nothing contest for silverware as Manchester United face Tottenham Hotspur in the Europa League Final. The Red Devils are currently experiencing their worst season of the Premier League era. The 20-time champions of England are languishing 16th after 37 matches with just 39 points across the campaign. United have recorded a staggering 18 defeats in the league, which is for more than United managed in Alex Ferguson's final 3 seasons in the Old Trafford dugout put together. They are also on course to finish in their lowest league position since relegation in 1973-74 and have regressed under Ruben Amorim since his arrival mid-season. Meanwhile, Spurs are in 17th position with 38 points, which makes them the worst performing side outside the relegation places. The Lily Whites have suffered a club record 20 defeats in the league and are heading for their worst league finish since relegation in 1977. Both clubs can attribute some of their problems to injuries this season, but the pair have both managed to put their woes behind them with a string of excellent performances and results in Europe. One of these teams has the chance to end their dark season on a high with a trophy and Champions League qualification, while the other will end the season on a low note. Ahead of a highly anticipated All-English final, we take a look at the injury news from both teams.